All right, so we're in this book now, 500 Nations. All right, I know you've probably seen this cover before. I just want to show you this again. All right, take a look at the cover. You see, what do you see here? So-called Negroes, right? Swarthy, copper-colored aboriginals. All right, I know, see the feathers and everything, but you see feathers as well, not just feathers. All right, this is the true old world. Many nations, all right? All right, so just want to bring you right to this image right here. You see this? What do you see here? These are Mayas, right? These are Mayas, all right? This is a real Maya vase. It's spread out, right? But what do you see here, right? So-called Negroes, right? These ain't Africans, all right? We had our own aboriginal, autochthonous people here, all right? As you can see, this book, 500 Nations, depicting it, all right? All right, we got this one as well, as you can see, Mayas as well. See, scenes like this on painted drinking vessels reveal much about Mayan customs and living arrangements. All right, so you see the dreadlocks. All right, do you see the dreadlocks? All right, down here you see more Mayas. See long dreadlocks coming down. All right, just go to this side. You can see they have prisoners, right? With dreadlocks as well. Let's go to the big image real quick. All right, so just a little bit zoomed in now, as you can see. These are Mayas, all right? You see the jaguar skins. You see the prisoner with dreadlocks. All right, you see what's going on here? So-called Negroes, all right? All right, take a look at this image now. All right, what you see here? So-called Negroes, right? In a campfire. We got other ones playing sports, probably dancing. Look at this. This is your ancestors. That's how they got down. All right. But Yuchi people, you see how they are depicted. All right. So you see how they are depicted, right? Dancing, having a festival, having a blast right here. Getting together right here in the house, under the cabin. They're all so-called Negroes. All right. Do you remember who you are? All right. Take a look at this image. Very cool right here. Colorful. You can see who these people are, right? And these are some hustlers, right? These are like traders. They're just on these trading routes, and they just be chilling. All right, seeing what they can trade. All right, so see how they're pimped out and decked out. You see all the clothes they got on. All right, check this out. So-called Negro, you've been here. You've been hustling on the corner. You've been here. All right, check it out. All right, so I know this looks very blurry, but I'm going to show you that this is why I'm saying that. It says on the opposite side, which was the picture we just saw, it says the lures of the fur trade. Uprooted many Indian peoples, creating a new class of hang around the fort Indians who benefited from the presence of the Europeans. These colorfully dressed Ottawas, all right? Those were Ottawas. We're going to go back to them, all right? Veterans of the fur trade were painted at Fort Mishika in Upper Michigan in the 18th century. All right, so let's go back to them. All right, so again, we just read it. So these are Ottawas. So they were benefiting from just chilling, hanging around, waiting on the Europeans to get some money out of them, hustle them for whatever way, do some trade, do some business with them. All right, these are hustlers right here. You see how they're decked out? They got ill clothes, they got hats, top hats. They got, they're decked out. All right, these were hustlers. So-called Negro, you've been doing this. All right. All right, so take a look at this image now. All right, this is a Mohawk American Indian, I believe. Mohawk. See what he's holding here? Look at the cross symbols, or the TOF, or the X, right? All right, check it out. All right, so again, this is a Mohawk Indian, and he has a fro. Like I've seen other images of the same painting, and it's a fro, basically. All right, Mohawk American Indian. All right. All right, so now this image right here is actually a painting that's in the Mexican presidential palace. All right, from the stories and life of Quetzalcoatl. All right, and I just want to show you how they drew the, Mishika people. Look at these, are so-called Negroes. All right. take a look. And some more renditions right here. Look at that inside the chicken. Look at that so-called Negro. Look at that. All right. Look how they painted the people. All right. You see this? Diego Rivera is the painter. Again, this is in the Presidential Palace, Mexico City. All right. These are the Mishika Indians. Look at that. And this is like basically the back cover again of the book. All right. So this is again tall oak and Narragansett. All right. Look how much it looks Cape Verdean. To my Cape Verdean people out there, as you can see, a lot of these eastern tribes of the East Coast look like you guys. All right. So you can understand why you guys look more like them than, you know, real so-called West Africans, right? All right, so real quick, just want to show you what I found in this book. It's a Spanish book. It's called Historia del Descubrimiento y Conquista, History of the Discovery and Conquest of America. It says written in German by the celebrated Campe and translated to Castellano, which is the old Spanish, by Don Francisco Fernandez Villabrille. All right, so this was written in 1845. All right. All right, and I found this inside the book. It's like one of the only images. There's like 2 or 3 images in this book, and this is one of them. All right, so check it out. It's a so-called negro or negro. This is American Indian Aboriginal. All right, and in the bottom it says Jefe Indio or Indian Chief. Indian Chief. In the bottom it says Jefe Indio or Indian Chief. All right, do you remember who you are? This is your land. All right, Amaru Khan. All right, so we're back in the John Carter Brown Library, Archive of Early American Images, and Here we have basically some black Caribs, all right? Some black Caribs. Just gonna read the description for you. It says, black Carib rulers or chiefs stand before British soldiers. A seated man extends his arm toward them, while another reads from a document. Another soldier stands nearby with a map, also includes guns or muskets. Thought to represent the climax of the First Carib War, when a treaty was made in 1773 between the British and the black Carib chiefs in St. Vincent. Alright, so this is in St. Vincent between black Carib chiefs. Alright, dodge the hijack with black. We're just talking about Caribs, alright, Aboriginals of America. So dodge the hijack with black. We're just looking at Caribs, alright? Caribs, alright, Aboriginals of St. Vincent, Caribbean, possibly other parts of America, alright? Alright, this is another map. It says, fascinating map of the southeastern part of the United States based on largely upon Sampson's map of Florida from 1657. Alright, let's zoom in. Alright, so who do you see here? Alright, these are Ta-Americans or the Americans. Tameri, Khans, priest kings, the Khans. Alright, the plum serpent, the snake kings, priest kings, all right, Amaru Khans. All right, real quick, I've shown this image before, and I think I showed it in other videos, but just wanted to show you where I got it from. All right, this is from the American Philosophical Society Library. This is an archive of 2 Tepecano women, native attire. All right, just take a look at them. This black and white photograph of 2 Tepecano women in native attire standing in front of a straw and stone dwelling, Jalisco, Mexico. All right, so take a very good look at them. All right, these are Aboriginal women from Mexico, Jalisco, Mexico, Tepecano, American Aborigines, Tepecano tribal women. All right, from Mexico. All right, we're still in the John Carter Library, John Carter Brown, Archive of Early American Images. All right, and it says this is a group of Native Americans. They stand and kneel before King George I, actually George II, of England, who is seated on the throne. Includes feathered headdresses and clothing, quiver of arrows, eagle feathers, and necklace. All right, and this is from the book. I have it also, but I just wanted to show you this one because this one's a good image. All right, it's from the World Displayed, or a curious collection of voyages and travels selected from the writers of all nations. That's in volume 5, all right, from 1760, all right, publication of this book. All right, Indian chiefs making speech to King George I, you see, copper-colored, so-called Negro. So it says that in 1734, James Otto Thorpe brought the Native Americans Tomochichi Miko, or king of the Jama Cross, Senakwi, his consort, Tonakowi, his nephew, Hilipili, Apakotski, Stimelechi, Sintuchi, Hinguti, and Umpichi, and 5 other chiefs with their interpreter to the English court at Kennings. All right, so now we continue with some more images. We're in this book. It's called Heroes and Hunters of the West, comprising sketches and adventures of Bone, Kenton, Brady, Logan, Wetzel, Fleethart, Hughes, Johnston. And this is from 1855. All right, real quick. So just here, right, almost close to the beginning, we got this. It says Capture of Bone, and this is the American Indian they're showing. You see the difference in the complexion with the light-skinned European and the indigenous person right here. We also got this image right here. You can see it shows, says Massacre of Miss Wetzel and her children. So, all right. Show the complexion of the Indian compared to the, Miss Wetzel and her kids. So just real quick, just want to show you, because I'm showing you images, but there's a lot of dropping in all these books. We're not reading it this today, but we're going to read a little bit. It says Louis Wetzel, right? All right, so it says the Wetzel family is remembered in the West for the courage, resolution, skill, and border warfare displayed by 4 of its members. All right, so I guess they were fighting, the ancestors. All right. It says in the hottest part of the Indian War, old Mr. Wetzel, who was a German, built his cabin some distance from the fort of Wheeling. All right, so he's a German. All right. It says here, the appearance of Louis Wetzel was enough to strike terror in the common men. He was about 5 feet 10 inches high, having broad shoulders, a full breast, muscular limbs, a dark skin, a dark skin. So he's a German, but he has dark skin. So we're reminded of Benjamin Franklin telling us that, you know, in his time, mostly all of Europe was swarthy, right? Or dark skin, right? Because, you know, the original Germans and, Europeans were of dark skin. So this book is letting you know that this Louis Wetzel, who was a European who established himself here and it was killing our ancestors because they were fighting them, right, trying to take their land and everything. That's why they just showed this Indian right here killing his family. It had to be for some reason, all right? They must have went into his tribe and his town and done the same, all right? We're not just killing anybody for nothing. And I'll take a look at this image right here. All right, look at this person's complexion, and actually look at his hair. It's not that straight. It's pretty wavy and, you know, curly. Chikatomo, all right, Chikatomo. So let's remember and honor an ancestor here. Who was Chikatomo? Chikatomo. It says they recounted with great energy the wrongs they had received from the whites. Their lands had been taken from them, their corn cut up, their villages burnt, their friends slaughtered. Every injury which they had received was dwelt upon until their passions had become inflamed beyond control. Suddenly, Chikatomo darted from the circle of dancers, and with eyes flashing fire ran up to the spot where Johnston was sitting, calmly contemplating the spectacle before him. When within reach, he struck him a furious blow with his fist and was preparing to repeat it, when Johnston seized him by the arms and hastily demanded the cause of such unprovoked violence. Chikatomo, all right, so he was fighting for his life and his people, and he had enough, all right? Remember this. All right, so this is another image here. All right, take a look at this. Now you tell me who that is right there. So-called Negro, American Indian, Aboriginal. All right, you see what they're drawing, right? It can't be any more clear than this. All right, Indian in ambush, right? So you see all the lightness around him. You see his complexion, right? All right, we got another image here, and it says Colonel Crawford and his friends, prisoners. All right, so they're prisoners to who? The American Indian, the so-called Negro over here. All right. All right, this is another image. All right, it says an Indian chief, and I think this is an image from an Indian chief in New York. I think we have this in another book that I've shown before. All right, so take a look at this. You can see kind of the curly hair, but you know, see the fringes. All right, see how his clothing is, the fringes all over the place. An Indian chief. All right. All right, we got another American Indian here. It says that this is Captain Pipe. Captain Pipe, all right? He gets down. Look at the fringes as well. All right. Check him out. See his complexion as well. Very dark, very swarthy, very copper colored. All right. All right, take a look at this image right here. As you can see, what's he about to do? All right, what does it say? It says slaughter of Miss Inez. All right, Miss Inez got slaughtered. She probably, her husband or her, somebody did something they weren't supposed to. All right, don't play around like that. Trying to take somebody's land, you know, and kill their family members and kill all their food supply and dirty their rivers and all that. All right, but you see, what I want you to see, you see her complexion and you see his. All right, is it clear? I mean, are they being very clear? You think they're just messing up or trying to say they're a little bit darker? No, very clear, very dark, swarthy. All right. Yeah, you know, so you see this image scalping people too, you know, they don't play. All right, you see this? Wow, look at that. Now I got this image too right here. All right, let me just show you what it looks like flipped. All right, so you can see has who in captivity. All right, just look at the image right here. Yeah, take a look at this one right here. All right, you know, use your senses. You know, so-called Negro. All right, it says it's a Sioux chief, a Sioux chief. All right, so take a look. Do you remember? Do you remember your ancestors? Huh? You know who you are? All right, pay attention to this image now. As you can see, it says Captain held in council with the Potawatomis. The Potawatomis. All right, take a good look. Now look at well, see their darker complexion, but also look at their hair. Almost looks like braids coming down. All right, but you see? All right, what do you see here? Do you remember? Do you see the ancestors? This is how they drew you. All right. All right, take a look at this image right here. All right, now look very closely. All right, what do you see here? What's going on here? Look at this. Who's that right there? So-called Negro. Battle between mounted troops and the Indians. Mounted troops and the Indians. All right. So battle going on here. A deserter acting as a guide. See this? All right. Do you remember who you are? Do you remember the ancestors? It says Morgan's Triumph. Doesn't say who this is, but look at it. All right. Do you remember who you are? All right. See how they depicted you back then? All right. Look at that. All right. Do you remember who you are? It's another image right here. All right. It says a Shawanese chief. Fringes all over. All right. All right, so we got this image right here. As you can see how they depict the American Indians. Look at their different turban, look at the different clothing, feathers. Yeah, we had all that. We're trendsetters, right? As you can see, their hair types. Look at this brother right here. She has long hair, but he doesn't. We had all kinds of hair, okay? Not just one type. We had all kinds of complexions, very dark to very light. All right, very different clothing, all that. So again, this is the map of South America by Herman Moss, 1730. All right. All right, so we're in the John Carter Brown Library image collections. All right, just wanted to show you this image. A lot of you probably already know about it. All right. So first of all, let me just read a little bit about the description here. It says, allegorical figure of America as a Native American woman. All right, they're going to say allegorical always. Seated on an alligator holding a cornucopia, plenty, right? Very fertile land. The parrot attended by 4 figures representing different Native American people. All right, representing 4 figures, right? Here's one of them. All right, there's 2 right here. You see them? All right, so-called Negro. All right, and then on the other side we got other ones. All right, you see that? So do you remember who you are? All right, and of course we got her on the alligator, right? Check it out. Who is this? Look at the feathers. You seen the slave ads when they were selling slaves, how they were dressed? Same thing. All right, you see Columbus and them were the European Spaniards coming, and you see our ancestors, the Aboriginals, greeting them with gold. They were giving us trinkets, all right? Bringing their cross. Look at that, the Christianity. This is from 1701 to 1750. All right, America. All right, so now we're in this book. It's called The Present State of Peru, comprising its geography, topography, natural history, mineralogy, commerce, blah, blah, blah. Its inhabitants, right? State of literature, philosophy, and the arts, and all that stuff. The whole drawn from original and authentic documents. All right, let me zoom in. From original and authentic documents, chiefly written and compiled in the Peruvian capital and embellished by 20 engravings of customs. All right, so this is very historically accepted. And this over here says llamas or Peruvian sheep. Oh, you thought we didn't have sheep and lamb? You think sheep and lamb when you look a certain way? Well, they grow fur here and very soft, just like a lamb. All right. All right. This is written in 1805 and it's written by Joseph Skinner. All right. So look at this. These are real Incas, aboriginals. Look at how they're dressed. All right. This is their costume. All right. Their royal costume, it says. All right. See how they're depicted? You see this? These are so-called Negroes. All right. Remember City of David, Cusco. What did we find there? City of David. What did we find there? Have you seen my City of David video? Go take a look. I'm not saying officially concrete, but we know there was one or two locations, right, of ancient Jerusalem, right? We know that Cusco means navel of the earth in Quechua, right? And we know that Jerusalem's always considered to be in the navel of the earth, or the belly button. All right, so just take a look, but look at how they're dressed here. Look at this. This is royalty. All right, that's your ancestors, the true American Indians, true Incas. All right. And we continue in the same book. We're on page 150. Another image of an American Indian woman. All right, you see her copper-colored, cinnamon, swarthy complexion. All right, it says female warrior of the Yuri Magua, Maya, Yuri Magua tribe, Yuri Magua, Hawah, Yuri Magua. All right, you see that? Do you remember who you are? Look at that. All right, so I just want to show you the distinction they're making, right? When it comes to, how they're drawing these people, they're letting you know exactly how they were, being depicted. It says here a female of Lima, of the middle class of society. So middle class, most likely European descendant right here. All right, just look at her. All right, so you can see how different it is. And you see the difference. All right, who are we looking at right here? All right, an aboriginal. All right, an Indian. You see the difference of how they're colored, right? They make clear distinctions. Do you remember who you are? All right, what's he pointing at? And it says Indian warrior belonging to a barbarous tribe. They call you barbarous. You don't look barbarous to me at all. All right. All right, so this is another map right here, and it says it's the scarce map of the southeastern portion of the United States based on the Pandé Isol's map of 1718. All right, so let me zoom into the aboriginals that are depicted here, as you can see. Copper-colored so-called Negroes, you see. All right, what do you see here as well? Lions, right? They're hunting what? They're shooting at who? Lions. Then I just make a video showing mammals, cats, carnivores, all that originated here in America. And you see they're hunting lions. Why are they showing lions here? Still in John Carter Brown Library, Archive of Early American Images. And as you can see here, it says a man and a woman of the Otigamis. Let me just zoom in, all right? I know you've probably seen these images on the internet. And when they're put in color, they're very dark skinned. Then we find that image in this book travels through the interior parts of North America in the year 1766, 1767, 1768. I just wanted you to see, they're talking about their complexion and all that. It says they are in general slight made, rather tall. It says their skin is of reddish or copper color. Reddish or copper color. Copper colored tribes of America, all right? So on page 228 of this book, you would find the image I just showed you. All right. This is how it looks when it's colorized. It's from the same books. Again, travels through the interior parts of North America. All right. These are just images, and I just want you to see. Right? You see what they really depicted as? When you add color to them, these are so-called Negro people. All right. American Indian, aboriginals. All right. Go back to it. John Carter Libraries. This is how it looks without the color, and this is what it looks with the color. All right, do you remember who you are? All right, so we got this other map. It says map of North and South America with the northwest coast of North America blank and California shown as an island. This is from Frederick DeWitt from 1688. All right, so let's just go down here real quick. All right, so these are the natives, or aboriginals. So these are the aboriginals it depicts here, right, in America. You can see all the different types. You see the, like the little afro, and you'll see the straight hair, different types of hair. All right, different complexions, but they're all copper colored, right? So this is the image they have here. All right, there's another version of this. This is from Codfish Map of North America, Herman Moore, 1719. See how they depict the aboriginals. Look at the difference. Look how light-skinned they are. Look how dark-skinned they are. All right. Back up again. This is the Codfish Map of North America by Herman Moore, 1719. All right. All right, so I just want to share these three images right here. So right here in the left, we have depictions of South America and Paraguayan people, or the American aboriginals of Paraguay. Hard to see that today, but yeah, they're still there today still. And these were the original Paraguayans. All right, in the middle we have an American novel, 10 cents American novels. All right, number 147, very old. It says The Red Warrior, or Stella Delorme's Comanche Lover. You see how they depict a so-called Negro. Look at her complexion. All right, and then at the right we got what? Monroe's 10-cent novels. Number 284 says The Mohawk Queen. All right, so look at him. Look how they're fighting. This is a so-called Negro he's fighting. Look at that. Can it be any more clear? I mean, look how darker he is to the light-skinned European here, right? Why do they keep drawing you so-called black or Negro, right? Because that is you. You are the American Indian. All right, so we continue with the book. So this is another one I have here. Says A Pictorial History of America, embracing both the northern and southern portions. All right, and check it out. Look at the American Indians right here. Look at that. All right, so-called Negro. This is by S.G. Goodrich. All right, so again, northern and southern portions of the New World, 1844. All right, so let me just take you to this page right here, right next to it. Just want to show you something really cool. All right, so it says this is Pizarro and Cusco, Peru. Have you seen my City of David video in Cusco? All right, Peru. Look at these buildings. Look at the columns. All right, not sure why these banners look like giants. I don't know if this is a perspective thing. These are farther away or whatever, but interesting, right? But look at the buildings. You see the architecture? What Cusco, all right, look like. And this is the Temple of Talomeco. The Temple of Talomeco. Take a look at this. All right, check it out. Look at the entrance with all these statues. All right. And look at the so-called Indians, right? The so-called Negroes, right? Look at these aboriginals greeting the Europeans, all right? So again, this is the Temple of Talomeco. I want to go ahead and just read something from another book regarding this Temple of Talomeco so you can know about it. All right, so we're in this book, The History of Hernando de Soto and Florida, or record of the events of the 60 years from 1512 to 1568. All right, so remember, Florida was vast and big, it covered a lot of states back in those times. They considered Florida most of the southeast. All right, now remember, we're going to talk about this temple right here. All right, they're drawn in this other book, Pictorial History of the United States. All right, the Temple of Talomeco. All right, you see these statues? Is going to talk about this. All right. All right, so it says here on page 362 of the Hernando de Soto book, it says both sides of the road from the camp to this town were covered with trees, of which a part bore fruit, and it seemed as though they promenaded through an orchard. All right, so there were so many fruits as they were walking in the forest on the way to Talomeco. Talomeco is a beautiful town, and quite noted, as it was the residence of the caciques. All right, the residence of the chiefs, or katzing. Katzing in Hebrew means chief, katzing, katzike. So it's a description of the Temple of Talomeco. All right. Upon the roof of this temple are many shells of different sizes, of diverse fishes ranged in very good order, but they could not comprehend whence they could have brought them, these people being so far from the sea, unless they had taken them in the rivers and streams which water the province, All these shells are placed with the insides out to give more brilliancy, putting always the great spiral seashell between two small shells, with the interval from one piece to the other filled with many strings of pearls of diverse sizes in the form of festoons from the shell to the other. These festoons of pearls, which extend from the top of the roof to the bottom, joined to the vivid brightness of the mother of pearl, and the shells produce a very beautiful effect when the sun shines upon them. The temple had doors proportioned to its grandeur. There were seen at the entrance 12 statues of giants. Alright, that's the image we just saw, made of wood. They are represented with an aspect of so ferocious and menacing that the Spaniards stopped a long time to consider these figures, worthy of admiration of ancient Rome. 12? 12 tribes? They say that these giants were placed there to defend the entrance of the door, for they are in a row on each side and gradually diminish in size. The first are 8 feet high, and the others proportionally a little less, in the order of the tubes of an organ. The height of the walls of the temple within is adorned conformable to the exterior of the roof, for there is a kind of cornice made of the great spiral seashell placed in very good order, and between these are seen festoons of pearls which hang from the roof. In the intervals of the shells and pearls there is seen in the arches of a quantity of plumes of diverse colors, feathers tied to the roof, feathers on the roof with pearls, and very well arranged. Besides this order which reigns above the cornice, many plumes and strings of pearls hang from all other parts of the roof. Many pearls and feathers hang from the roof, retained by imperceptible threads tied above and below, so that it seems as though these works might be ready to fall. I mean, it continues on and on, but I just want to read this part, and you can just pause it and read this part up here. They're talking about some chests that they find in the middle of the temple, and it said, all these chests are filled with pearls in such a manner that the largest contain the largest pearls, and thus in succession to the smallest, which are full of seed pearls only. Besides, the quantity of pearls was such that the Spaniards avowed that even if there had been more than 900 men and 300 horses, they altogether could not have carried off at one time all the pearls of this temple. We ought not, however, to be too much astonished at this, if we consider that the Indians of the province conveyed into these chests during many ages all the pearls which they found, without retaining a single one of them. And hence we can judge by comparison that if all the gold and silver which they have brought from Peru to Spain had not been transported elsewhere, the Spaniards would now be able to cover with gold and silver many churches. So it says, such is the description of the temple and magazine of Talomeco, which the Spaniards who had been in Peru and in other parts of America admired as the wonder of the New World, in North America. Afterwards they asked the Indians what had led them to amass so much wealth, and they replied that all the chiefs of the country, and principally those of their province, made their grandeur to consist in the magnificence of their temples. Alright, so sacred and holy temples, right? Our people contented themselves with this reply, and immediately the controllers of the emperor, who attended the army to receive the fifth of all the wealth it should find, deliberated upon taking the claims of their master. But Soto told them that they ought not to burden themselves with anything, that they were sufficiently encumbered with the arms and provisions which they carried, that after the conquest of Florida they would divide it, and that he to whom should fall the province of Cofasiqui should pay the fifth of the treasure which should be found in the Temple of Talomeco. Everybody approved this sentiment, and they retraced their route to the quarters. Alright, so I just wanted to go ahead and let you know about the Temple of Talomeco, alright, because, alright, so you can take a look again. Let me just back up again. Alright, Temple of Talomeco. You see the statues, 12, alright. You see what the Indians look like. Alright, Temple of Talomeco. Now, so we're back to the book and back to the images, alright? So remember, we're still in the book A Pictorial History of America, embracing both northern and southern portions of the New World by S.G. Goodrich. And this is the cover. You can see the American Indians. It says here, Spaniards discovering tobacco. Alright, so check it out. Check out the American Indians. Go to this side over here. And it says Columbus communicating with natives of Cuba. All right, so let's zoom in a little bit here. So Columbus communicating with the natives of Cuba. Look at how the natives of Cuba look. Alright, we got this image right here. Check it out. It says Atahualpa holding the Bible to his ear. So I guess he was, Atahualpa took the book, it says, examined it on all sides, put it to his ear, burst into a laugh, and thrown it away. The breviary added, "This book tells me nothing about the matter." Valverde then turned towards the Spaniards, crying out in a loud voice, "Vengeance, my friends, vengeance! Christians, do you not see how he despises the gospel? Kill these dogs who trample under the foot the law of God." Right, so they were trying to evangelize him and make him, get into Christianity and Jesus and all that. So he was like, he was making fun of them. He's like, "What are you talking about? I don't hear nothing in this book." This image right here, check it out. And it says Hualpa discovering the mind. Look at that. So-called Negro. This is in Peru. All right. All right, another image here. All right. Giving them trinkets, right? Another image here, very interesting. It says the Fountain of Youth. All right. Again, who had the Fountain of Youth? Your ancestors. All right. Remember Wakanda Springs, a healing spot. All right. There's another image. It says here, Indian princess in a barge. All right. Check it out. Look at their canoes or boats. Alright, so we have another image here, very interesting image. We've already talked about this person, John Eliot, alright, in the Hebrew Aboriginal series that I got. It says here, Eliot preaching to the Indians. Alright, this is in Massachusetts. Alright, let's close in. Alright, so you see, this is Eliot preaching to the Indians. Remember, Eliot wrote the first Bible in America in the Algonquin language. And John Eliot said that the Indians were the lost tribes of Israel, very similar to the Hebrew, and that the Algonquin language had very, very strong affinities to the Hebrew. All right, just like William Penn said about the Lenape Indians. All right, this image right here, let me just zoom in. It says it's a portrait of King Philip. All right, King Philip. They always show him a different way, but right here he's depicted as a Negro. All right, dark skin. All right, King Philip, Massachusetts. Right, the Pequot. And the next, well, close to the next page, it says the death of Philip. It seems they cut his head off, and it seems like it was another so-called Negro American Indian doing it for the English, right? The death of Philip. Look, like they're snitching on him. What's going on here? There's other tribes. We got another image here of a so-called savage American Indian herding white people. All right, for nothing, right? Massacre at Roanoke. Oh, we all know what happened in Roanoke, right? Whose land was it? And who came spreading diseases and trying to take their land? All right, you see, so-called Negro. You're fighting for your land right here. All right, take a look at this image right here very carefully. All right, who is that right there with his braids and everything? Look at that. Alright, do you remember who you are? Do you honor your ancestors? Alright, just another image right here. See this? And it says the chief of the Blackfoot Nation. Another image right here. Alright. It says Kinistenuk's woman. Alright. Got another image here. It says Kinistenuk's with his lance and medicine bag. Alright. Alright, another image right here. Take a look. This is in the Caribbean. Alright, it says natives of the West India Islands. West India Islands. Look at that. I got another image here. All right, I just want to show you, take a good look at this person right here. This drawing. All right, this is in Patagonia. This is in South Argentina or in south tip of South America, Patagonian. All right, and then we have another one right here from the same region. This is a fusion. I have other books with another depiction more clearly, but very thick lips. They're described as dark skin in these other books. The fusion, right? The fusion. All right, there's again the tip of South America down the bottom. All right. Got another map here. It says old map of Jamaica. All right. All right, and I'm gonna zoom in to the aboriginals depicted here in this image on this map of Jamaica. Check it out. As you can see, they're all so-called Negroes. All right. Out of many, one people, right? Jamaica. All right. So this is by Mateo Ceutero. All right, that's the map maker of this. All right, so I got this other book. All right, it's called A Pictorial History of the United States with notices of other portions of America by the same person, by S.G. Goodrich. I guess he has different volumes, different versions of this. All right, so I just wanted to show you the right from the beginning and the cover. All right, it says frontispiece. It says an American Indian contemplating the progress of civilization. All right, so you see, so-called Negro. Do you see who you were? They knew it all along. They have this in their books. All right, so I just want to show you, like, this book, the same book has different editions and versions as time went on, and they kept changing the character in the beginning until he became very light-skinned and very different looking. All right, so go ahead and research that. I found the original. This is one of the originals right here. This is how they depict the American Indians. All right. All right, if you notice something about this image, it looks just like the symbol of Britain or Britannica, how she's sitting on like a wheel or something. All right, you see the original? All right. So we're also going to read at the same time this book, which is basically the same one I just mentioned, but a different edition. It's maybe a new edition, it says here, with numerous improvements by 1860. All right, so it says the Pictorial History of the United States. Again, look at the cover. You still see a copper-colored so-called Negro Indian here. All right, you see the symbol that I was talking about. It looks like Britannica. She's sitting on a wheel and stuff. Because this is where it truly originated. All these images and these representations, right? This is the true old world. All right. All right, so we got this image right here. And it says, Indians looking at the approach of Columbus' fleet. Look how they look. All right, you see? All right here it says in chapter 12, this is Captain John Smith making a treaty with the Indians. All right, so zoomed in, you see, so-called Negro. Who are you making? John Smith making a treaty with who? With your ancestors right here, right? All right, smoking it up. Check out the American Indians, as you can see. What do you see here? These so-called Negroes. How can you deny? All right, I mean, look at the distinction they make. White person, so-called black person, right? Dutch trading with the Indians. Dutch trading with the Indians. All right, do you remember who you are? Take a look. All right, this is not in the new edition. This was taken out, but on the old version, we have this image right here. All right, take a look. All right, so-called Negro. Take a look. And then it says down in the bottom, Indian Declaration of War. This is a declaration of war. All right here we got another image. All right, seems like a shaman and somebody who's sick. An Indian. These are Indians. Says Indian sorcerer and sick man. All right, check a look. Got this other image right here. All right, let's read about it. It says Indian chief. An Indian chief. All right, we got this other image. Take a look at this one. I mean, very clear, right? The so-called Negroes. This is not a mistake. All right, so it says Philip exciting the Indians to war. King Philip. All right, we just saw another representation of him before. This is another one. You see, over the years, how they changed his image. He was a so-called Negro, leader of the Pequots. Remember, the Pequots got taken all the way to the West Indies. One place was Providence Island. If you know part 3 of my Aboriginal series videos, I showed you that they were referred to as cannibal Negroes, these Pequots, when they were arriving at Providence Island off the coast of Nicaragua and Honduras in the Caribbean. Right, they were sending them there. You can see King Philip, the so-called Negro, the Aboriginals. All right, Pequots. All right, so this is another image and depiction of the American Indians. You can see so-called Negroes as well. There's no denying the dark skin, you know, the swarthy, copper-colored. All right, it says Indians in a village. All right, this is in the old version. 1844, we just saw the 1860 version of Tecumseh. Now take a look at the 1844 version of Tecumseh, right? Tecumseh, look at the name. All right, let me go back up. Look at this. Tecumseh. What's this? All right. Tecumseh was a so-called Negro fighting Chickamauga Wars, right? Tecumseh. War 1812. Tecumseh. All right. And the comet, the Dracan, Tecumseh, so-called Negro. All right, take a very close look at this image, right? Very symbolic, meaningful, realistic image of what really happened. Look how they're doing it, evangelizing your ancestor. Who? The so-called Negro. All right, what do they bring? Gods of wood and stone. Speaking a foreign language, it says Catholic priests instructing the Indians. Catholic, teaching them about baby Jesus. Drop the J, you get Zeus, Krishna, Mitre, Jupiter, Zeus. That's what they were teaching the tribes, Hebrews, the real ancient so-called Hebrews. Alright, this is another image from the new edition. This is in South America. Look at the Indian, so-called Negro Aboriginal. Look at the llamas, camels, come on, horses running around. I thought horses weren't over here. See what they're showing you? Horses running around wildly. Scene of South America, alright? Look at these wild big birds, whatever they are. Crocodiles seen in South America, Aboriginal, alright? Horses in the background. We got this image right here, almost at the end of the book. It says Indian massacres in Florida. So we've seen a lot of images in this book already, but this one wasn't in the other ones. All right, look at them. All right, look at that. Same ones they depict in the when they're selling slaves, right? Depict them the same way. That's how they draw